Alright, so it's the next day. I'm going to pop this hood off of here, get this Bondo mixed up, and get to body filling. Alright, so we're back out here, and I got my Bondo. I don't know if this stuff goes bad or not. I've never opened this container here. I don't know if that's right. Alright, well I couldn't find anything online about it. So let's just try and stir this up and see if it... Alright, so I'm going to be bondoing over these two emblem holes here. I got it all sanded down, cleaned, and I'll do another once over with the alcohol right here just to make sure everything's nice and clean. What you do is you just get like a 3-to-1 ratio between the body filler, the stuff in here, and the hardener. So 3 parts Bondo to 1 part hardener. That's pretty much how I always did it. So you got your hardener and your filler, and just give that a good stir, and then you just stir it until everything is the same color. Alright, now we can go ahead and apply this Bondo here. You're just going to get your little Bondo card, make sure that's clean. Oh, that looks like that cured pretty quick. I'm going to have to mix up another batch. So you just go ahead and smear that Bondo on.
So to make sure that you get good coverage with your Bondo, I like to spread the Bondo from side to side and up and down.
Alright, so now we just... Oh, you know what? I can still see the indentations. Dang it. Oh, man.
The cool thing about Bondo work is you can cake up the Bondo and it doesn't really matter because you're just going to sand it down smooth anyway.
If this doesn't work out, I will just go ahead and fill this in with some weld. Alright, so as long as the temperature is above like 70 degrees, this should be workable within about 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and set. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop the other hood off of this wagon here and start stripping the paint off of that, because this one's going to have a lot more actual Bondo work, whereas this one has already been Bondoed in the past. You can kind of see some faint Bondo traces in there. It's been Bondoed before, it's been filled and sanded, so as far as this hood goes, I just had to get rid of a lot of like rock chips, stuff like that, and as I mentioned before, getting rid of the raised areas from where the saw kind of poked through a little bit. So here's some more Bondo up in there. So all that stuff's holding up pretty good. I'm kind of skeptical about this area because I can actually feel the paint. What? So here's a cool little trick for you guys. All these plastic pieces are very brittle from being 30 years old. So taking off these hoses isn't always the easiest because the hoses have shrunk around the hardened plastic. So what I found out is you can just heat it up a bit. No risk of breaking anything. Just heat up that rubber hose and you'll be good to go. That sucks. Did I get that on? I did get that on tape. Nice. Just sprayed a whole bunch of water up my shorts there. So since the first part of the video has pretty much just been me sanding the other hood, I'm not going to really include it. I'm just going to kind of, this is it now. So this is sanded down pretty good. I'm going to call it a night though, because it's getting to be late, and I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes out here. But before we end the video tonight, I'm going to go ahead and feather out that Bondo work on that other hood. Alright. So it's been out for at least an hour and a half by now, probably. And it looks like it's ready to be sanded. When talking about like body work and stuff, the term feathered comes up a lot. And what that is when you see these edges blurring back into the paint behind it, that's feathering. So to feather this out, if you remember, it had a few rings right here and right here and right here, and then it was paint. So it was paint, metal, another like layer of paint, and the two holes were in the middle where it was bare metal at. So I'm basically gonna be feathering, in other words, sanding down and around the edges here and working my way closer to the middle, because I want this to be as smooth as possible, so when it's painted there's no edging of the material. So you just basically have to sand it back down to the point of where it was when you started, because all you were doing was just filling these little spots.
Alright, so I'm editing this video and I'm getting a headache listening to myself. All feathering means is you have a smooth, flat surface. There's no edges to any of the material that you added or subtracted, and that's it. Just feathering means easing in and out. When you talk about feathering a clutch, you're easing in and out. When you talk about feathering paint and Bondo work, you're easing in and out, a smooth transition.
So this looks really good. But this is the feathering I was talking about right here. See how these edges kind of like blend into each other? That's feathering, as far as I know. But you can see we're pretty much just left with a little, you can feel a little edge right there, so I'll get rid of that. But as you can see right here, let's see if I can get the color to match up. It's not gonna work. But yeah, so you just feather out the area, especially the area that you know is not where you needed the filler. So really work around the edges, and then you work your way in towards the areas that you do need filled. And as long as you're using a flat surface, you're not going to grind down into the crevices of where you're bondoing. So alright, so that's where I'm going to end the video for tonight, folks. I hope this has been educational for you guys, people that are, you know, looking to get into doing body work, painting and stuff like that. It is very tedious, like I mentioned in the first video, but in my opinion it's also kind of like, it's like a meditative practice. It's just like, you know, just you're doing something and then you're working on it, and eventually all the hard work pays off and you just have something nice to look at. And that's really what, you know, building cars is all about, in my opinion. Just putting in that work and enjoying the thing that you can look at, you know. But yeah, so I'll catch you guys in the next one, where I am doing the Bondo on the other hood. I'm gonna try to get the other hood sanded down quite a bit tomorrow, and then blast both of them with some self-etching primer, and then I'll show you guys the process in fine-tuning, not fine-tuning, but yeah, like fine-tuning your paint job and your body work. So I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. Yeah. Alright, so we're back in the garage, away from the mosquitoes. Oh man. Alright, so this is what I was talking about when I was talking about feathering. This is actually a good place to show an example of it. So feathering is where you see the layers of the material that you're working with kind of blend in and out. So you see here we go from the white to the factory primer to like another factory primer, then we got the layer of metal, and then there's even a lower spot of metal right here. So that's feathering. So when you're feathering out your Bondo work, you're actually kind of just blending the Bondo material in to the surface of your the piece that you're bondoing. You're blending it in so it looks as smooth as the rest of the surface. So I'm gonna finish sanding this down a little bit, and that's something I should have mentioned when I was applying the Bondo, is you really want to make sure that you have a really velvety smooth Bondo job here, because when you smear it on and try to fill in the gaps in the body that you're trying to smooth out, if you look, see that little dot right there? That's a spot where I didn't smooth down the Bondo when I applied it with the squeegee. I didn't have it laid down properly, or maybe there was just like a little bit of dirt or something, but something prevented the Bondo from sticking right there. And if you do that, you're gonna have a bad time. That's the tedious bodywork thing that I was talking about. You are gonna sit there, do something, undo it, sanding, and then redo it, reapplying the Bondo until you have a perfect product. So kind of just take that with you. This other hood looks pretty good so far. Honestly, it would be kind of cool just to, you could just throw a clear coat on that, right? But yeah, you can see a lot of, there is a lot of imperfections on this hood here. And when you are working with something like this, it probably has like hail damage. This car is from up north where it does snow, and you know, probably gets heavy rains, heavy hail, stuff like that. And you're gonna end up, you'll see in the next video. I need to stop talking and just end this video. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Tomorrow I'm gonna be wrapping up this hood right here, hopefully have it completely painted by the end of the night. At the very least, a few layers of white primer on it, and I would like to have Bondo floated on this hood right here. And yeah, after that, it's on to the roof. But until then, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out. Yerp.